Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today we have another Black Library book review for you, and this time we're looking at Blacktalon First Mark by Andy Clark. So without further ado, let's get cracking on into this review, and if you'd like to see a particular book reviewed in the future, let us know in the comments below, and we also take requests from our Patreon and YouTube members of Black Library books to review. So, on to the review. So let's start by setting the scene. So, the story is based around Knight Zephyros, which is sort of a Stormcast assassin called Neve Blacktalon. You might know this model from the miniature. It originally came out in the Blight War box set alongside Horticular Stymux and all that. She's the really cool two-hand axe wielding. I mean, you can see her picture here in the artwork, and there's a model that looks exactly like it. She's a really cool miniature and a really cool character as well that we get to find out throughout this story. Either way, she's a Knight Zephyros, an assassin of the Hammers of Sigmar Stormhost, and she's been beset by visions that threaten everything she holds dear. The story is basically about her trying to find the source of these visions and cure herself without infecting the rest of her friends and those she cares deepest about around her. So, Categorization, like a lot of Age of Sigmar novels, this is at its core an adventure novel. Now, I found in a couple of my other reviews that I've done that maybe I want to expand a little bit more on what I mean by the adventure, so I think adventure something is the way to categorize this personally. I think this is really an adventure mystery. It does keep you guessing for a long periods of the book at what exactly the visions that were talked about are, which is really great. So that means it's this mystery that's sort of behind the adventure. That is really what the book is all about, and that's why I feel it's sort of like an adventure and mystery book all in one. So, the book's purpose. I think the purpose of this book really not only is to sort of give Neve Blacktalon a focus and flesh out this character that we've got in the game that's a named character, but also it's really to show the humanity of the Stormcast. If there's anything this book does really, really well, it is making the Stormcast seem human and showing you those emotions and feelings and fears more than anything that they have. In this book, it does a really good thing of showing like the fear of the reforging process that the Stormcast have. This is something that's quite common throughout the start of the book. I mean, Neve Blacktalon has been reforged multiple times, so her fears of like what reforging do, linking back to other characters in other things, really sort of sets this book on edge and sort of shows you that humanity sort of aspect to the Stormcast character. Throughout the book, there's other ways you get to see this sort of human aspect of them, and it really does make you feel for them a lot, which is fantastic. It really makes them this believable character that you can imagine that you were or you're liking, etc. Well, I just talked about it, but this, for me, is really the best part of the whole book. We have a mortal character that comes along pretty early on in the book that joins up with Neve Blacktalon at parts of the book as well, and it's this connection between the two we get eventually that, and I guess the conflict and the emotional side between the two that for me really just sets this book apart. It is one of my favourite Stormcast Eternal books, I have to say. It does such a great job at just showing that humanity of the Stormcast and how they try to protect the people of the realms, how what they're fighting for is other people to not have to be Stormcast. They don't want anyone else to have to take on the burden that they have to. They want humans to be able to live their lives and have that chance to live a normal human life. They don't want any more Stormcast to have to be forged. It's not something they want to do. So the book just does a really great job at just making those Stormcast seem human and show their feelings towards humanity and humanity's feelings towards them as well. This for me, it's just a really great look into like how Stormcast think and feel. It's great in that aspect more than anything else. Least favourite part, and I think I'm really picking at straws when I do this because I really did think this was quite a fantastic book. But for me, I guess the only part I can find as a negative for this book more than anything is perhaps the major enemies within the book didn't really get enough screen time. I feel maybe another chapter or so where we got to look at those enemies a bit more, we could have really delved into them a little bit more. I got to know a little bit more about them or had some of their build up in the story. That feels the only part for me that's really lacking. I really like books where we get to see the enemies sort of build up alongside our heroes. There's a great thing you can do with that. It did okay, but perhaps a little bit more screen time. But like I said, I think I'm picking at straws here. This was a really, really fun read. So our main characters, well, as I've already alluded to, Neve Blacktalon is our primary main character within the story. She's a Knight Zephyros of the Stormcast Eternals, a Stormcast assassin. But the other main characters that follow along here, and you can see one of them on the front cover here of Blacktalon First Mark, and that is Catalian Morn. Catalian Morn is a last surviving member of the Morn tribe, a tribe within the realm of life that is currently under threat, living in parts that are sort of under threat by the worshippers of chaos. And, well, I guess if we're talking Catalian Morn here, this 16-year-old, what they sort of aim her at, year old girl fighting her way through the mortal realms, she has a little partner called Keto, or little maybe is an understatement on Keto. Keto is a Tatakan, which is effectively a smaller version of a Lariel's giant beetle. It's this sort of spawn of a god beast. It's really cool. I really liked how they sort of brought her in. They made these sort of things for her, like Keto and her Vambraces, that you'll get to see as you read the novel and stuff like that. For me, it gives you a really good look into the people of the realms, these, as they would be known if they were in the city, the Reclaimed, these inhabitants of the mortal realms that have survived through the realm of chaos. This is a really great look at how the tribes sort of live in the realm of life. Catalian Morn and Keto are great characters and really do shine alongside Neve Blacktalon in the story without overshadowing her or getting too much in the way. Neve really is our #1 priority in this book. And so, how did our characters change throughout the book? Well, without putting any spoilers, I guess their relationship is the big thing that starts. From a very rocky relationship at the start, it does change quite a lot. And the progression through them gaining trust and all that throughout the book is a really great journey to go on. I really do like how they build up the relationship between the two characters in the book and how they feel about each other by the end of it. Also during the book, what they're fighting for changes a lot. From what our initial things are when you start reading the book, they change quite a lot throughout the book about where and what exactly the characters in the book of all sorts are fighting for and wanting. It's a really good book that sort of changes the motivation, and it does so organically as well. It doesn't feel forced in any part of it. You sort of feel that these changes come about as the relationship either grows between Keto and Blacktalon or other characters within the book. It's a really great look at how you can change your perspective on things because your relationship and your feelings towards other parties, and you understand those other parties well. It does that job really, really well. So who would I recommend this book to? I mean, first of all, it's got to be Stormcast fans. I mean, this is about one of the biggest Stormcast Eternal characters we have, so makes sense. Stormcast fans, if you are wanting something to read, this is a fantastic book to do so with. And also, I'd recommend this to those that maybe don't like Stormcast as well, on the sort of far other end of the spectrum, because this might give you a very different look at how Stormcast are. Some of the Stormcast novels can be, I guess, a little bit removed with the characters in them, and they don't really seem relatable in any way. But for me, this book does a really good job at bringing a Stormcast into humanity, and for that, I'd recommend those that maybe are not fond of Stormcast, give Stormcast a second chance and have a check out of this book. So, in summary, this is a fantastic journey and mystery that organically leads you along a winding emotional path between the different characters in the story that leaves you, by the end of it, really wanting to know more. There's some great cliffhangers at the end, and I won't say anything more than that, but the end of this book just leaves you with so many questions. After getting so many answers, it just needs more after this book. It's a great, great book. This, for me, is one of the best books I've read from Black Library. I know I say that about a ton of them, but for me, this really, really is. And for that reason, I do think it really is a worthy recipient of a 9 out of 10 score for me. It is just a fantastic book. Definitely go pick this up. Well, we hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And also, while you're at it, why don't you come join our Discord server where you can chat to me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming. You can do so by following the link to our Discord server, which is in the description of the video. Lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel financially via Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you to our Patreon supporters Christian Weir, James, Soren, Chaos Spawn, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Alder and Shot First, James Crowder, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, Tim Newman and The Rising Ape. And thank you to our YouTube members Green Roots Gaming and Fire Titan. Thank you all for supporting the channel, and if you'd like to help support the channel like these fine people do, you can do so by clicking one of the links down to either our Patreon or our YouTube members in the description of the video as well. Thank you all for watching, everyone, though. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.